The village of Kiwa sat cradled between two low hills, where the red earth clung stubbornly to feet, and the evening winds carried the scent of ripening maize. It was from this humble soil that Josh was born. His mother, Mama Rahema, sold vegetables at the dusty roadside market. His father had died when he was still a boy. Poverty was no stranger in their homestead. Patched roofs, cracked water pots, and borrowed clothes made up the rhythm of his youth. Yet, in the midst of hardship, Josh carried something rare: innocence mixed with quiet determination. He was tall and slim, his skin glistening under the sun, his hands calloused from endless work on other people's farms. Those who knew him said he never raised his voice, never quarreled, and never took what wasn't his. When word reached Kiwa that the family of Minister Barasa, one of the most powerful men in the county, needed help at their country estate, Josh did not hesitate. The estate was in the greener lands near Limuru, far from the dry red soils he called home. It promised a steady wage, food, and a roof over his head. Mama Rahema prayed over him, pressing a Bible into his hands. "Keep your heart pure, my son. In the homes of the rich, temptation is plenty. Remember who you are." Josh nodded. He was only 21, still green in many ways, but eager to prove himself. The Barasa estate stretched wide, with a towering black gate at its entrance and manicured hedges that lined the driveway. The compound breathed wealth: a large stone mansion, shiny cars parked neatly, and workers in crisp uniforms tending to the flower gardens. It was here that Nyla, the minister's only daughter, had recently returned after graduating from St. Paul's University. She had been groomed in privilege, clothed in silk, and educated in the finest schools. Her father expected her to join the family's political dynasty, perhaps marry the son of a wealthy ally, and keep their family name untarnished. But Nyla was restless. University had widened her eyes, but it had also left her heart hungry. The books she read, the stories she wrote secretly in her journal, all whispered of a different life, one not bound by wealth, politics, or society's iron cages. It was during her long evening walks in the estate's farmyard that she first saw Josh. He was at the gate, wiping sweat from his brow after hours of slashing the tall grass. Their eyes met briefly. His gaze dropped quickly, respectful, almost shy. Nyla felt something stir inside her. At first, she brushed it off as curiosity. After all, what business did a minister's daughter have noticing a gatekeeper? But day after day, their paths crossed. Josh's humility intrigued her. Unlike the loud, entitled sons of politicians she knew, Josh carried silence like a crown. He listened more than he spoke. Their first real conversation happened one drizzling afternoon. Nyla had taken shelter under the farm's mango tree, her umbrella forgotten in the house. Josh, returning from the gate, noticed her. "You'll get cold," he said softly, stopping at a respectful distance. Nyla smiled. "Are you always this careful with people?" Josh hesitated, unsure whether to answer. I tried to be," he said finally. That was the beginning. Small exchanges at first. Greetings, weather comments, questions about farm work. But soon, their talks grew longer. Josh told her about Kiwa, about his mother's struggles and his younger siblings who looked up to him. Nyla shared her dreams of writing, of traveling, of breaking free from the suffocating expectations of her father's world. And with each stolen conversation, something invisible wove between them, fragile, forbidden, yet impossible to deny. But in a house as large as the Barasas, secrets were hard to keep. The housemaid, Mama Sidi, had sharp eyes. She noticed the way Nyla lingered near the farm, the way Josh's face lit up when she appeared. Rumors began to grow, whispered first among workers, then reaching the ears of Nyla's mother. Minister Barasa was a man of pride. When hints of his daughter's attachment to a gatekeeper reached him, he dismissed them as nonsense. But the seed of suspicion was planted. He reminded Nyla at dinner one evening, "You are a Barasa. Remember your place." Nyla only nodded, hiding her trembling hands under the table. One night, unable to bear the weight of her feelings, Nyla confronted Josh near the garden. The moon hung low, silvering the leaves. "Josh," she whispered, her voice breaking, Do you feel what I feel?" Josh's chest tightened. He had wrestled with his own emotions for weeks, afraid of overstepping. "Nyla, I am your employer's daughter. If your father knew, I would lose everything." "I don't care," she said fiercely. "I just want to know the truth." Josh took a deep breath. "Yes, Nyla, I feel it too." Their confession bound them in silence, but the danger of their love loomed like a storm on the horizon.
From that night, the world seemed to change for Nyla and Josh. Every glance became charged. Every smile carried hidden meanings. They found excuses to meet, sometimes under the old mango tree, sometimes by the edge of the farm, away from prying eyes. But whispers spread like wildfire in an African homestead. Mama Siti's tongue sharpened with suspicion, and the guard at the second gate swore he had seen the two laughing together one evening. Workers loved gossip, and soon every corner of the estate hummed with speculation. Josh grew restless. Poverty had taught him to be cautious, to fear the wrath of the powerful. His job was his lifeline, and losing it would mean returning to Kiwa empty-handed. Yet, his heart betrayed him. Each time Nyla's hand brushed against his, the world melted away. It was not long before Minister Barasa himself noticed. One Saturday afternoon, as he walked the farm with his cane in hand, he caught sight of Nyla and Josh standing too close under the mango tree. His voice thundered across the yard. "Josh, to the gate, now." Nyla froze, her heart pounding, but Josh obeyed immediately, lowering his gaze. The minister's stare was sharp, cutting through his daughter. "And you, Nyla? Come inside. We need to talk." That evening, the minister's words fell like stones. "You will not disgrace this family. Do you understand? That boy is a farmhand. You are a Barasa. Your future is not with him." "But Baba!" "No, enough." His fist slammed against the table. "If I hear one more word of this nonsense, I will send him back to whatever hole he crawled from." Nyla's eyes burned with tears, but she said nothing. Deep inside, however, her resolve hardened. Separated by suspicion, Nyla and Josh turned to secret letters. She slipped folded notes under a stone near the garden shed, and he retrieved them at dawn before the workers stirred. Their words bled with longing, with dreams of escape. "Josh, sometimes I wish I was born in Kiwa. I would rather fetch water from the river with you than sit in this mansion with its cold walls. Nyla, you are the first light in my life, but I fear what your father can do. If we are discovered, it could destroy us both." Yet, as danger grew, so did their passion. In every story, there is always one who watches from the shadows. At the Barasa estate, that person was Okello, the driver. He had served the minister for years, loyal to the family, but jealous of anyone who seemed to rise too quickly in the household's favor. When Okello noticed the letters, suspicion filled his heart. He bided his time, waiting to catch them red-handed. For him, exposing Josh was not just about loyalty, it was about pride. How could a mere gatekeeper win the attention of the minister's daughter, while he, who drove the family's expensive cars, was invisible? One misty morning, Okello followed Josh quietly and caught him lifting a stone near the shed. Underneath was Nyla's delicate handwriting. His lips curled into a smile. "So it's true," he muttered. "The gatekeeper thinks himself a prince." That evening, Okello approached Minister Barasa. He handed him the letter, smirking. The minister's face darkened as he read his daughter's words of love. His fury knew no bounds. He summoned Josh immediately. "Ungrateful boy, I fed you, gave you work, and this is how you repay me? By defiling my daughter with your foolish dreams?" Josh trembled, his voice breaking. "Sir, with respect, I would never dishonor her. I love her truly." "Love?" The minister spat the word like poison. "You are nothing, a village rat. Do you think love puts food on the table? Do you think love builds empires? Get out of my sight before I destroy you." Nyla, listening from the corridor, burst into the room. "Baba, stop. He has done nothing wrong. I love him too." The room fell silent. The minister's face turned crimson, his cane trembling in his grip. "You what?" "I said I love him," Nyla whispered, her voice steady despite the tears. That night, chaos shook the Barasa home. The minister's decision was swift. By dawn, Josh was thrown out of the estate. His few belongings were bundled into a sack, and the guard escorted him to the main road. Nyla's cries echoed through the compound as she begged her father, but he would not relent. Back in Kiwa, Josh arrived broken, his spirit heavy. Villagers whispered. Some mocked him for daring to reach above his station, others pitied his fall. Mama Rahemor wept, fearing for her son's heart. But in the silence of his small hut, Josh clung to one truth. Nyla loved him still. Back in Limuru, Nyla's world grew darker. Her father locked her under tight watch, restricting her movements, even talking of arranging her marriage to the son of a wealthy businessman. But Nyla was not one to surrender. She found a way to sneak messages out through her cousin, who visited often. In those letters, she urged Josh not to give up. "Wait for me. I will find a way." Josh replied thoughtfully, with a sign of the atomic infancy for her love. But fate is a tricky player. Okello, still unsatisfied, feared Nyla might find a way to reunite with Josh. If that happened, the minister's wrath could also fall on him for not watching closely enough. So he began plotting something more sinister to ensure Josh never returned to Nyla's life again.
One evening, as he sat at the local Changa den, he whispered to his drinking companions, "That boy Josh must learn his place. If he won't, then fate will teach him." His plan was simple but cruel. He knew Josh often fetched water for his mother at the Kiwa stream. With help from a shady acquaintance, he laced a gourd of busa with poison, intending to pass it to Josh through a friend. If Josh were out of the way permanently, Nyla would have no reason to resist her father's plans. But fate is not easily manipulated. The poisoned gourd never reached Josh. It was mistakenly given to another young man at the market who fell gravely ill. When word spread, whispers of foul play filled Kiwa. Josh himself heard of it and grew suspicious. "Someone wants me gone," he murmured, his fists clenching. Meanwhile, Nyla's days were suffocating. Minister Barasa tightened his grip, even assigning Mama Sidi to watch her every move. "Your future is already written," her father said one night. "You will marry where the family gains. This childish fantasy ends now." But Nyla's spirit rebelled. She hid her journal under her mattress, filling its pages with plans. She wrote poems to Josh, stories of escape, even sketches of the small house she imagined they might one day share. Her only ally was her cousin Asha, a university friend who still visited under the guise of tutoring. Through Asha, letters continued to flow between Nyla and Josh, though each exchange grew riskier. Josh worked tirelessly in Kiwa, clearing fields, tending cattle, even carrying bricks for construction sites. Each coin he earned went into a small wooden box beneath his bed. To his mother, he said little, but at night, his prayers carried Nyla's name. One evening, by the flicker of a kerosene lamp, he whispered to himself, "If I can save enough, I will build a small house. Maybe then her father will see I am serious. Maybe love can stand against wealth. But deep down, he knew Minister Barasa's pride was harder than stone. Okello was not finished. When his first attempt failed, he devised another scheme. He traveled to Kiwa under the pretense of visiting relatives. There, he spread lies that Josh had stolen from the Barasa estate, that the minister himself had sworn to have him arrested if he ever returned. The rumors spread like wildfire. Villagers began to whisper behind Josh's back, some refusing to hire him. His reputation crumbled. When Josh learned of it, his heart sank. So this is how they will destroy me, not with poison, but with words. Despite the dangers, Nyla found a way to see Josh. One moonlit night, with Asha's help, she slipped out of the estate and met him at the edge of a maize field near the main road. Their embrace was desperate, their whispers trembling. "Josh," Nyla said, tears in her eyes, "they will never allow us peace. My father plans to marry me off within months." Josh held her tightly. "Then let us run away, Nyla. Let us start over, far from here." "But where would we go? We have nothing." "We have each other," Josh replied, his voice steady, though his heart pounded. "Is that not enough?" Nyla closed her eyes, feeling the truth of his words, yet fear shadowed her heart. Their secret meeting did not remain secret long. Okello, ever watchful, followed Asha's trail and saw them together. By dawn, he reported everything to the minister. This time, Minister Barasa's wrath was uncontainable. He summoned Nyla and thundered, "You defy me again? After everything I warned you?" "Yes, Baba," Nyla answered, her voice trembling but firm. "Because I love him. I will not deny it." The minister's cane struck the floor. "Then you are no daughter of mine." The words pierced Nyla's heart, but she did not back down.
Back in Kiwa, Josh's struggles deepened. Someone set fire to a section of his family's maize field one night. Flames devoured the stalks, and villagers gathered to douse the fire. Whispers blamed Josh's enemies. Mama Rahema wept. "My son, what curse follows you? Why do they hate you so?" Josh clenched his fists, his jaw tight. "Because I dared to love where they said I should not." Seeing her cousin's pain, Asha proposed a daring idea. "There is an NGO in Nairobi," she whispered to Nyla. "These sponsor young people from poor backgrounds, even arrange scholarships abroad. If Josh can secure a chance, your father will have no reason to call him a mere villager." The thought ignited hope. Letters flew quickly to Josh, urging him to apply. He gathered his few certificates, wrote essays by lantern light, and prayed over each word. But Okello struck once more. He intercepted one of Nyla's letters meant for Josh, twisting it before handing it to Minister Barasa. The letter read, in Nyla's hand, "Even if you fail, Josh, I will always choose you over them." To the minister, it was proof of treachery. In his fury, he stormed into Nyla's room, tore her journal to pieces, and locked her away for weeks. Yet what he failed to realize was that another letter had already reached Josh, one that carried hope. Weeks turned into months. Josh's scholarship application was reviewed. Against all odds, he was shortlisted for an interview in Nairobi. He traveled with borrowed clothes, trembling with nerves but burning with determination. In the interview, when asked why he deserved the opportunity, Josh answered simply, "Because if I succeed, I will not only change my life, but I will prove that love is stronger than poverty." The panel sat in silence, moved by his honesty. When news reached Kiwa that Josh had won the scholarship, the entire village rejoiced. Women ululated, men clapped him on the back, and even those who once doubted him now celebrated. But in the Barasa estate,
The news struck differently. Nyla, upon hearing it through Asha, felt her heart swell with pride. Yet her father seethed. He thinks he can outgrow me? That a piece of paper makes him worthy? But beneath his fury, even the minister could not ignore the winds of change. The boy he dismissed as a gatekeeper was now bound for a future beyond their reach. The night before Josh was to leave for Nairobi, Nyla escaped once more with Asha's help. They met under the same mango tree where it all began. "Josh," she whispered, her hands trembling in his, "promise me you won't forget me." "Forget you?" he said, his eyes shining. "Nyla, you are the reason I breathe." Their kiss was desperate, filled with longing and sorrow, for they both knew the road ahead would not be easy. As Josh prepared to leave, something unexpected happened. Minister Barasa summoned him. Josh entered the grand sitting room, his heart heavy. The minister studied him for a long while, then spoke. "You are still nothing in my eyes, but I cannot stop the world from seeing you differently now. Prove yourself, boy. If you succeed, perhaps I will reconsider." It was not acceptance, but it was the first crack in the wall of pride. Josh left for Nairobi with his mother's blessings and the villagers' prayers. Nyla remained in Limuru, watched closely, but carrying a flame in her heart. Their love was battered, bruised, but unbroken. Letters would continue, distances would test them, enemies would plot again. But both knew something unshakable now, that even in the harsh soil of class and pride, love could blossom. And as the bus carrying Josh rumbled down the road, past the hills of Kiwa and into the unknown, he whispered a promise to the wind. "I will return for you, Nyla, no matter how long it takes." Thank you for watching City Stories, where every tale inspires, teaches, and entertains. If you enjoyed this story, don't leave without hitting subscribe and turning on the bell so you never miss the next one. Share it with friends, and let's keep growing a community built on the power of stories.